So, and now we have the state of the gaslight of the union. So let's have a moment of reflection on the people of Ukraine. Let's have a moment of silence. Thanks. So, so a moment of silence for Ukraine on this anniversary of the day that Putin invaded Ukraine. We are, I hate to say at the mercy of, but we kind of are at against our will. We're under the regime of Putin's puppet. And it's just like we just probably are all feeling like we keep getting bashed with more gaslighting, more insults, more pain, more cruelty, more mockery. And it's so tonight, what we're going to have is the state of the gaslighting of the union, right? And in the face of what we know this regime is doing, in the face of the massive cruelty and crimes against humanity that this regime is committing, we're expected to view this as legit. I'm so grateful that the People's State of the Union is happening. I think that that's brilliant. I'm really inspired and hopeful that the American people are signing up for that. They're standing up for that. You don't have to sign up, you just have to tune in. We're really at a point of, you know, I called this year the year of, what was it? Like the epiphany kind of a year? The year of the reckoning? I called 2026 the year of reckoning. And that's where we are in the United States of America. And we are hearing MAGA Mike talking about this country like everything is so great and so good. And oh, Biden's economy was a disaster and all this. We were flying high when Biden was president. Yeah, prices were a little up. We were recovering from a pandemic. This regime, if it weren't for Trump and this regime, there would be a whole lot of people still alive on the planet than are. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. So, I think that we're all feeling a collective feeling of exhaustion. I think that we can relate to that. I think we're all feeling exhaustion. We're all pretty over being lied to all the time. MAGA Mike saying how wonderful everything is, and he's saying that the Democrats are having their own private, rally. Well, it's public, but did I see the new article highlighting the Russian election connection between Epstein and Thiel? I did not see that. I'll look at this will hold on Substack. So they're continuing to tell us that everything's great and gas is $1.99 a gallon and the economy's never been better and there's housing and there's this and then there's that and what we know is what we really need is an actual president who tells the truth. What we actually need, what we have been craving since 2024 when Kamala was on the campaign trail and all these people showed up. We want a State of the Union with a real president of the United States that's not a 34 times convicted felon who works for the enemies of the United States in order to topple us. So that we are being subjected to this, let's commiserate together a little bit. That we are being subjected to this kind of abuse, where what is going to stand up there at that podium tonight is the most slimy criminal imaginable, who freed all the most hardened criminals imaginable. Yeah, we have a Russian president, not an American one. Absolutely true. You expect we'll be hearing speak Russian soon? Hearing who? Yeah. Trump couldn't do that. We're being asked to do way too much, but then I think about Ukraine. Okay, they're being asked to do more. I know that we all pick up on what each other is feeling. During the blizzard we had for a couple days there, finally ended. I was feeling the collective stress and the collective angst, and because we all feel that. We all feel those things. And lately, I have felt, and if you get quiet, I'm sure you'll feel it too, that people are absolutely exasperated and they're rageful for good reason. I did hear a good news story about the concentration camp. We're just going to call it what it is. The concentration camp that was the contractors were trying to get in Merrimack, New Hampshire, which isn't far from where I am. The people got it to not be built. The people got that plan shut down. So we've got to keep our eye on the concentration camp plans. We have to keep our eye on it, and we have to make sure they get shut down. This Trump, in light of the fact that people are being tormented cruelly on his watch because of him, and the sadists that work around him, that don't give a rat's ass about anybody, that the MAGA Republicans are going to be there applauding. You're worried that the government didn't say she wasn't building one somewhere else in New Hampshire. The governor of New Hampshire is a female? I didn't know that. Who's the governor of New Hampshire? In Virginia, they're trying to block another data center from being built. Yeah, so, as I talk about his cruelty, Putin keeps popping into my mind. Gee, isn't that interesting? Trump needs to be in a concentration camp. I agree. That we have gone from a country that is intelligent, that has had the most sought after universities and medical learning hospitals and the best of the best, that people have come from all over to make us the country that we are, to give us the strong, really American can do that we've enjoyed for all these years. That this Trump is in a place right now where, think about USAID last year. Think about COVID, all the people that died from COVID that didn't have to die from COVID. He kept denying that it was real. He was worried about his poll numbers. He's going to stand up there, and these MAGA Republicans are going to be applauding him as if he's God's gift to I don't know what, to the billionaires, to the oligarchs, I suppose. And the reality is that people are right now, I heard about teenage girls and Dilley in the concentration camp in Texas being kept from anybody's purview at all. And in the face of all this, are we supposed to just Mr. Trump, what a good president. That's what they do in dictatorships. That's what they do in authoritarian countries. The people don't really have a choice. In North Korea, the people don't have a choice. In the United States of America, the people do have a choice. And the choice is ours. And the choice that we have to make right now is anyone who's able to push aside every other thing that we're focused on besides making a living so we can pay the bills. Push aside everything that we can, that it's practical for us to push aside, to be single-minded on we cannot turn this country into what Germany was during World War II. We cannot. And I know that enough of us on board remember the ellipse rally with Kamala. Remember that the good rally with Kamala. There were over 100,000 people there. It's not like we don't have the good people. I just feel like all the good people must be steadfast in the commitment and the strength of conviction that America is worth saving. Yeah, that was a spiritual gathering with Kamala. There was some very spiritual feelings to all of those rallies. Because you know why I say spiritual? Because there was joy and there was unity. And the ugliness could not handle that. And that's when Trump, shortly after that, dressed up like a garbage man. Shortly after that, following the thread of somebody at the fascist rally, the hate rally at Madison Square Garden, where some idiot stood up there in the center and said that Puerto Rico is a garbage country. This country needs to ride the wave of what we had in 2024 with Kamala and Tim Walz. What the fascists need us to do is to pretend like that never happened. The gaslighting is through the roof. The amount of things that they say that we are not. Like, how many times does Trump say that we were a dead country? What the hell is that? All he does is insult the United States of America. And so if you feel overwhelmed and enraged that this is happening tonight, the collective is feeling that too. We cannot believe that this is where we have ended up at this point. That not only did SCOTUS allow him to get back into running for POTUS, but he's an enemy and he works for the enemy and he's attempting to destroy America. We shouldn't be having a State of the Union. We should be having a real president of the United States. That a real president of the United States right now, if it were Kamala right now, we know that the State of the Union would be full of achievements and manufacturing and job growth and the economy and opportunities for even like healthcare, like for expansion of Medicaid and Medicare, even to the point where what Kamala was talking about for their plans was to have people that have to take care of their elderly relatives be compensated for that if they had to take time off from work to keep their elderly relatives out of nursing homes as long as possible. There were all kinds of things. So the State of the Union that we want to hear is that all good things are being worked on that make America truly great. And we have to be subjected to this crap where there's a man who was buddies with Epstein, who's all over the files, who covers up and covers up and covers up and treats us all like shit, excuse my French. He treats every one of us like crap. Every one of them does. This criminal enterprise that invaded the United States from within they're having a party tonight to celebrate how much they continue to gaslight us. We're not buying it, but how much they continue to get away with all these crimes. That's really what it is tonight. It's to pretend that he's a hero. Dementia addled and everything, to pretend that he's a hero. While people are suffering and being tortured in concentration camps that Stephen Miller wants, and Tom Homan, the criminal who took a bribe of $50,000 in a paper bag to do somebody some favors. I think it might have been a prison company. So when you see those MAGA Republicans on one side of the room, and I kind of suspect there won't be many people on the Democratic side of the room, when you see them sitting there and applauding, if you watch it, I'm not watching it, but if you see clips of them sitting there and applauding, know that we are a million times more powerful. Know that the reason that this has come up is because this evil is angry, and this evil is loud, and this evil is a bullying and a violent evil. And it's intimidated by our joy. So it's trying to convince us that the joy doesn't really exist. You can't really feel joy when somebody's lying to you all the time as you're writhing in emotional pain. Or it's kind of like, they're like emotionally assaulting you, and you're wrecked. And all the while they're emotionally assaulting you, they're telling you how wonderful they're treating you. That's really what it is. We're getting emotionally whooped upside the head and, going through all kinds of hardship and feeling like hopeless and feeling like exhausted by their abuse of us. And we're doing all of this. Like, I can't believe you've just stolen all our money, and you've stolen our honor, and you're stealing our 250th year anniversary celebration. You're stealing our history. You're stealing our rights. You're stealing it is psychological warfare, yes. Yeah, constantly abusing the American people and then getting up there tonight and acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread to happen to America. And all the injustice that we have to suffer of watching these MAGA Republicans give him a pass for all the most hateful, destructive, violent, illegal things that he does, give him a pass. They're going to be sitting there, and now they'll give him a few standing ovations too. And as he walks in, you're going to see them all, whoa, oh yeah, we love you. Talk about selling your freaking soul to the freaking devil. Good Lord, what are we doing? I'm very grateful that Move On and Midas Touch and the wonderful people of America have really decided to answer this, to make the answer to this be the people, the people's State of the Union, where they are going to tell the truth. It's definitely PTSD. It's a collective PTSD. So I want to speak just a little bit to how we're feeling, because I don't think that it's helpful for us to just try to forget about what's happening. We need to for our mental health. We need to go out and walk around and be with people and play in the snow, if that's now available to you more than it was a few days ago. We definitely need the mental health break, so let's make sure that we take them. And when we take a mental health break, make it a good mental health break, because we need the energy to keep going. And when you're hurting, either individually or collectively, when you're being abused emotionally, and that abuse just keeps continuing and they act like it's not happening, that's a real scary place for one individual to be in. For the collective to be in that place, it makes it a lot easier. And then we do something with that angst. And we do something with that exhaustion. Even if you shared with somebody, I've been following the news constantly. I was listening to Ron Filipkowski, Midas Touch. Somebody was interviewing him, and he was mentioning that he writes all these newsletters and everything. He gets up in the morning and he starts following the news. That's what I do all day, every day. I don't know why. It's like an obsession because I'm obsessed with we need to save this country, and I need to do everything I possibly can to contribute to us saving this country. Those people, all of us that find ourselves here, have to know that we're not alone. You think this gaslighting is called charm by Trump and the Epstein crowd? We have to know that we have each other's back. This is a time that calls for us to know. Like, today I was exhausted from all of it. From all of it. I needed to have my car shoveled out. The person that was going to shovel out my car suddenly got overbooked and it didn't get shoveled out. And it was so inconvenient because I have an event to attend in the morning. And then there's all this like trump, right? You can't even focus on your own problem solving because there's all this stuff going on. But that's okay. I give myself a pass when I get upset and exhausted from all of this. We all need to give ourselves a little bit of it's okay. If you feel upset, if you feel exhausted, if you feel like giving up, give that a shelf life. Give yourself a certain amount of time. As now Sage is making it. I think we're getting more snow tomorrow. Yes, you're so funny. We are. It's not going to be a blizzard though. I already booked an Uber for the morning to get to where I need to go tomorrow morning, so that was inconvenient. But let's admit we're exhausted. No, it's okay. I was just kidding. We're getting close enough to the vernal equinox that I don't have to get too upset about the snow. But just, when little inconveniences come up, we're a little bit like hypersensitive, right? Because look at what it would be, and it's good for us to imagine this. Look at what it would be if we were having a State of the Union right now with Kamala Harris. We'd all be happy, right? All of us here would be happy. Anyone who wants to have a good life in a good country would be happy. And that's what should be happening. And they stole that from us because that's what authoritarian takeovers do. But we are a democracy. The First Amendment stands, and all the rest of them, and all our Bill of Rights. We'd be happy and joyful, right? We wouldn't be all like, all the time. How do we fix this? But here's the thing that's happening too. We've heard more people talk about the United States Constitution in the last 8 years, and especially when Trump has been in office. But really the past 10 years, than we really have our whole lives probably. We've learned how law works, not maybe intensively, but to a certain degree. And we've learned how to come together as groups of people working together. And if we're not doing that, I think that I'm going to put a little bit more time into in-person groups in my local community because politics start locally, right? Getting more used to interacting with people, making people feel welcome and wanted to join the conversation. We need to be having more conversations. Authoritarians hate that. They hate optimism. People who are authoritarian dictators have a great deal of self-loathing and self-hatred, and they have to take it out on us. That's what bullies do. So we have to believe that we're going to have our democracy be strong again. And guess what? We're laying the foundation for that right now. Because, like, what it stirred up in me, I'm sure it's stirred up in you. We can't not do anything. I didn't know that there was this many evil people in the world, that they're building concentration camps and they're not even thinking about what that is that they're doing. Like, yeah, we need to stop this. We need to get our democracy back. Because what we are, the majority of us, is just like another planet away from where they are. And they happen to hold the reins right now because we've been invaded by a foreign enemy from within. So this is a war. And in a war, soldiers get tired, and many don't make it. We're in a war. We have the foundation of people who are committed to rebuilding our country. No, the foundation is there. The foundation is us. We're the foundation. It's us. So it's going to require for all of us to get our self-esteem up, get our sense of being powerful up. And just like, I've talked before using it as an analogy, that I saw a flock of geese fly really low over my head the other day, and I was just kind of watching them, so beautiful, in their V formation, and knowing that the way that works, you probably all know this is when the goose in the front at the tip of the V gets tired, moves to the back, and they kind of like draft as they're flying along. That's what this is. That's what we're doing. So how can we inspire one another to stay in the fight, and especially inspire one another by letting each other know, you know what? You will get exhausted. You will be wiped out. You will get discouraged. You'll get so angry you can't see straight. You'll get overwhelmed. You'll get madder than you've ever been, and you'll feel helpless and hopeless and in despair. You'll feel all those things. And we're all here for you when you feel all those things, because we're all going to feel it too. So let's acknowledge that. Because during these times, we can't expect to be like, oh, happy, happy, happy. Because then that seems like an unattainable goal to keep that up all the time. And that kind of will make people feel like more isolated, rather than, oh, so we're not like complaining and bringing the energy down. Not that, just an acknowledgement. Yeah, we're human beings. There are children being held in concentration camps. It's a bit much for me. And then let somebody else pick up the slack. It's a lot for all of us, but together we are much, much stronger. And together we can hold up the others when they're feeling weak, and when we're feeling weak, they can hold us up. That's called teamwork. That's called America. Let's remember, during the American Revolution, that war went on for about 7 years, I think it was. And it didn't just like stop after the Declaration of Independence was put into effect, after it was written and the word was going out. We have a Declaration of Independence. There was a lot of fighting that continued to go on. And a lot of, I can't believe they just keep pummeling us, right? George, knock it off. What we are experiencing right now. is very similar in the sense that we have a tyrant wielding unearned power over us, committing all kinds of crimes against us. We have a tyrant. It's unbearable. And the same as they did in the early founding of this nation, the same as they fought for independence from the king, guess what we're fighting for? Independence from a fucking king. A brutal tyrant whose health is failing, whose mind is failing, but all his court jesters are still holding him up. This has become unbearable, and we, the people, declare our independence from this tyranny. And if it means we don't have a federal government anymore, so be it. The states can be their own little countries. I don't know, but we're not putting up with this crap anymore. Together we can. Wasn't that what Obama said? Together we can. Don't forget that he's failing, that he's floundering, and that he is a weak, weak man, and so are the people around him. So they just don't want us to know that they're weak. They're going to tell us, he's going to tell us how wonderful it all is, but we're going to watch the people's State of the Union, right? So everybody join us for that. I'm going to do a video to upload onto YouTube in a little while, and know that we're watching together. If I feel so inclined, I might jump on live, but you'll see. So let's have a commitment. Make an inner commitment. Put your hand over your heart. I promise that I'll work as hard as I possibly can. And we promise together that we will save this union. And the state of our union is strong. All right. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. I like to say namaste. Bye.